Welcome to Wild, Women in Lending Determined to Make an Impact. I'm your host, Robin Lavasser. They say our biggest fear is not that we are inadequate. It's being powerful beyond measure. In this podcast, I will share how to break through imaginary ceilings, lean into success, discovering your purpose, and understanding how to create the business and life of your dreams. From failures to triumphs and all the tactics in between, let's jump into the wild arena together.
Welcome back to Wild with Robin Lavasser. I just got back from Guatemala, and I want to share with you today something that has been absolutely transformational in my own business. And I know many friends and peers in the industry where it's also transformed them. And I want to challenge you with it and share a piece of it, because purpose at the root of everything is the fuel that makes hard work start to feel like a calling. And what a difference that makes in the daily grind. Because when your why is small, every obstacle feels incredibly big. But when your why is big enough, when it's rooted in something beyond ourselves, no challenge can stop you from wanting to push to the next level. Purpose is at the root of all of that, right? That bigger than yourself. That is a purpose. It's a passion to do what you do. And so I just got back from Guatemala. Years ago, I was coaching actually outside of our company at a company called The Core Training. And I was coaching a gal, and she was the perfect student, never missed a call, never, always had everything in. And she messaged me and said, "Hey, I'm going to have to miss a call. I'm going out of the country and I have wanted to do this forever." And she was headed out on her first mission. And she went on this mission down to Guatemala because she actually met a fellow real estate agent in her home community that was kind of one of the founders, if you will, on the board of directors for this mission. And so she went down to Guatemala. And when she came back, I watched literally over the next 6 months as I was coaching her business go from already really good and a solid producer to just skyrocketed. But more importantly, I watched her transform how she approached things, the coachability that she had, the peace she had within her, but also just the overall drive, if you will, that you can feel someone's energy be so fixated on, I've got it. What can I do next? How can I take it to the next level? And I watched all of that absolutely transform her. And I remember specifically calling and saying, I want in. I want to go. Well, COVID hit and there were a few delays, and I finally got to go on this mission. And I'm now on my third time where we take 1 week a year out of our life and literally, yes, pay the money to go down to Guatemala. And this happens to be my mission. I'm going to share this piece with you, but it'll all tie in for you. And while I'm down in Guatemala, first time, second time, and this last time that I recently got back from, you literally live outside of yourself. And what I mean by that is that you are so focused on the circumstances that they live in every single day. And it gives you this perspective of, and clarity, if you will, of not having much, but having enough. And what I mean by that is that there are days down in Guatemala at Casa de Mi Padre, especially, which is a kind of a foster care orphanage, are driven by love. Their days are driven by healing and love for the children, for the community, for their faith. And it gives them this endless energy to continue to help kids learn to read and write, heal from horrible abuse, learn to feel safe again with adults and with their siblings or fellow, I don't know if orphans is the right word, but fellow Casa de Mi Padre family members. They learn to build self-confidence and self-worth again. They learn that there will always be food available on their plates for 3 meals plus snacks a day, that they can take a shower, they can dress nicely. They learn to sing and dance and play. And there's all these things. And when you go down to a mission like that, and you hear the stories of where they come from and where they're at, you can't help but realize, man, what a beautiful gift it is to step outside my own business, my own life, and just pour in to what really, do they need me? No, they really don't need me in that moment. But when your heart is invested in it, all of a sudden your, biblically they would say your treasure would follow, but your wallet will follow. And when you drive 100% commission sales business, any entrepreneur will tell you the best ones become addicted to philanthropy, right? They love to give and make a commitment to impact others. And when you can give in great amounts, man, does that drive you, because otherwise it starts to feel really empty when you hit, especially when you hit a certain stage in your business of success. And so you want to give back. You want to find that bigger purpose. And it made me realize, I can tell you, that in our 100% commission world, that when your focus is only on your bills, your pipeline, your next deal, you becoming number one. I wanted to become the number one in Lane County. I wanted to become the number one in the state of Oregon. I wanted to become a top woman originator and originator in the country. I had achieved all of those things, but it's so easy to burn out just chasing the next accolade, if you will, the next trophy. And that's not to say don't do it, because what that can create for you is beautiful. You don't get there without honestly collecting a great paycheck. I mean, you can't become one of the best in your state, one of the best in your counties, one of the best in the nation without having a big reward, right? A big commission. But when your work for that becomes about impact rather than just the trophy and the accolades, it absolutely changes the entire game. How does this transfer for you, for your team that you're likely leading? Because if you're at this level, you're leading it. If you're not at this level, I would challenge you to build to where you can get this at this level. I can tell you that when I walked in to this company 15 years ago, I was not at this level, and it was too soon for me to take it on. Not with my heart. I could always take it on with my heart, but I wasn't ready to take it on with my wallet, if you will. I wasn't able to contribute. And I always say this, not in a mean way, but you'll never find the needy can't give financial resource, the tools in the financials world, to the needy. The wealthy have that tool to give, but only if they open their hearts to that bigger purpose. Right? Only if they can open their hearts. And so when you think about the 3 levels of purpose, I want you to think self-purpose. What is your personal goals, right? Income, freedom, growth. What are you looking at for self-purpose? Because that's an important one. And some of us are in that stage in our business where we're looking at our own self-purpose. The next one is shared purpose. How your work supports others, family, team, clients, referral partners. That shared purpose drove me a long way. And when I say that, I mean, I'll never forget recognizing that my parents were self-employed and they didn't have enough to actually retire. And because I was in the financials world and becoming really financially literate, if you will, I recognized that, gosh, mom and dad at some point are going to need help. And they were incredible parents. And even if they weren't, I would probably always want to help my parents, right? Honor the mother and the father. I'd want to help them. But the only way for me to do that was to have that shared purpose where I recognized, hey, if I do more loans, I can then add to my family. I can help my team. I can help clients. I can help referral partners. I can help other people grow because I'm sharing in my purpose versus I need to close 3 loans a month to cover all my bills, take care of everything. And it's just about me, right? That's self-purpose. Maybe a personal goal is now I want to get to 5. I want to get to 10. I want to do this. But shared purpose is if I do this work and I hire this team member and they're then able to support their own family and buy a house, which I have done with countless team members at this point, and it brings me some of the most just personal pride and joy in my own life to know that I've impacted team members, that I was able to help my mom and dad, that I was able to contribute back to our family, that I was able to create things because of the gift and the skills that I had developed in my own business. That is shared purpose. The next one, the last one, sacred purpose. The impact that ripples so far beyond yourself. It goes into legacy, community, faith contribution, right? A bigger world, a farther reach, if you will. My heart has absolutely fallen in love with Casa de Mi Padre. To watch the work that was created 15 years ago down there by a man that felt called by God and after prayer landed in Santa Cruz del Quiche, which is a long journey from Guatemala City, and to get out there and to find the amount of need. Within a couple weeks of opening, he had 16 children, and within weeks of that, he had 22 children handed to him who had been horribly abused, found in dumpsters, sexually tormented by adults, starving. He told the story about the first time he bought cookies for this group of kids. And he went and got this big package of cookies and he brought them out and he said, "Who wants a cookie?" And he said this frenzy broke out and all the kids were like, me, and they're Papa Shane. And he's learning Spanish and all these kids speak Spanish and he speaks English. And he said it was like a mini riot over the cookies. And he realized that all of these children were so worried that they would never have enough. That they didn't realize he had bought plenty for everyone, and there was more where that came from. And so one of the lessons that he teaches every child that walks into Casa de Mi Padre is you don't have to live out a life that focuses on me, me, me. We will meet your needs, right? Jesus will meet your needs. We will meet your needs. We have people that pour into this. When you go down there as they call us Americanos, but when you go down there and you visit, they know that you are the lifeline of them learning to play the violin and the piano and being educated and learning about the Bible and all of the things, listening to music and eating and having birthday parties and Christmas mornings and things they've never experienced in their life. They know that you are the cause of that. But in order to do that, I know for me, I'm a mom of 5 kids and have a big family, and I had to get to sacred purpose. I had to get out of self-purpose. I had it, and I still have self-purpose, shared purpose. Yep, another level. I have that as well. Now it's sacred purpose. How do I go even bigger? And that means beyond my own mother and father, my own sisters and cousins and nieces, nephews, my own children, my own husband, all of those things. I have an abundance to also give at a sacred level, right? A whole different level. And what a gift that has been. And when you align your effort with sacred purpose, your energy shifts and work stops being transactions and it becomes transformation. Work stops being transactions and it becomes transformation. And I watched it firsthand. We took an entire team, all from Summit Funding, the company that I work for this time. Shive, my husband, every single one of us are Summit. And I watched every single person down there transform and say, gosh almighty, one more loan can sponsor every child in here for a month. One more loan can pay almost half a year's rent down there. One more loan can get almost half of the group a set of glasses. One more loan has dentistry work done. One more loan puts food in the fridge. And as they start to think about it, all of a sudden they come back and they're like, I'm on a roll. I'm making calls. Because you don't all of a sudden go, I don't want to call my referral partners today. I don't want to do this. You think to yourself, gosh, little Jorge, who's deaf, who's 7 years old, whose mom and dad didn't want to keep him because he's of no use to them in their mind, because he can't provide, because children are often an asset in impoverished countries, because if they can help provide, they'll pull them from school and education to meet the needs of just food, water, shelter, because everybody can go to work. When you have somebody that has a disability like Jorge, he gets left because he can't meet the needs. So at 7 years old, he was abandoned with a hard, I don't want him anymore, and he has no place to go. But one more loan gives him education for a year, learning how to sign and become fully functional despite the disability. What a beautiful gift. And who are we to play at a level where we say, I just want to do 3 loans and then go play? Man, what a difference to say, I can't wait to do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 transactions and give back. It's not a transaction, it's a transformation not only of ourselves, but beyond ourselves that we can give to others. And so here's a couple questions that I would have for you. Who are the people that your work truly impacts? What is one life or one family that has changed because of the way you showed up in your business? What is one life or one family that has changed because of the way you show up in your business? If you could use your success, your skills, the work that you put in every day to support a cause or a mission of any sort, what would it be? What could it be? I would challenge you to have those things written down in front of you, to have that dream, right? I wrote down on my 5-year vision that one day I wanted to serve that bigger purpose, right? I wanted to get beyond. For a while, my 5-year vision is I want to have enough that I can give to my parents freely and give them freedom financially in their retirement. I was able to do that. It makes such a big difference when you can do all of that. So how do you tie this all back in? When you think motivation, when your why is big, you don't end up needing external hype. You become self-propelled. If you find yourself going, I've lost my mojo, I'm not very motivated today, I just don't feel like it, I would tell you, find a bigger why. That will propel you into self-accountability, self-excitement, right? You want to do it because you know the impact that it can make. Resilience creates beautiful resilience. Rejection doesn't define you because you're not selling for approval. You're selling for purpose. And so you have great resilience in all of that because you know, hey, I got to go on to the next one. I got to keep going. I'm not feeling any sort of rejection or anything else. I know I have a bigger business. I have a bigger calling in my business. And so I'm going to keep going no matter what. Even if that realtor fired me today, even if that didn't go as I had planned, right? I'm going to keep going. And then results. Clients feel your conviction. People buy energy and belief. And when they believe that it's more of a transformation than it is a transaction, that will show up in how you take care of them. It will be belief before product, if you will, and that will make a major difference. When your work becomes about serving something bigger, sales becomes sacred, and sacred purpose, it transforms everything that you do, and you really will never feel like you are working a day in your life. And that's a beautiful gift that you can give to yourself. I used to wonder if I'd ever retire, and sometimes I think, why would I ever retire if the work that I can do doesn't even feel like work, and it can make such a tremendous impact on other people's lives within my own family, my own community, my own team, if you will, and then all the way out into Guatemala and Santa Cruz del Quiche and the kids of Casa de Mi Padre, or whatever is near and dear to your heart that you can serve with. So I would encourage you, find a bigger why. Ask yourself what step right now you are in purpose, and how do you develop all three purposes so that you can have a bigger business, a bigger life, and a bigger impact. I hope this was helpful and that you share it. We'll see you on the next Wild.